What is going on, peasants? My name is JB, and I am back here today for my finals video for Season 2 of the PCL. That's right, we made finals 2 seasons in a row. Hopefully we can avenge our loss from last year and take home the trophy that we so richly want, and that would be lovely. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Anyway, we are taking on the New Britain Rockruff, coached by our good friend, Mr. Diet Tight. Go check him out. He's one of my best friends in the community. Would be cool if you guys go check him out. I think he's been on the channel before. I'm actually not sure if that's been one of my videos, but yeah, he's a good homie regardless. Go check him out. He finished the regular season with a record of 9-3. And yeah, it should be a really fun game. Let's go ahead and go over his squad. As you can see, he has Jirachi with Z moves, Suicune, Dhelmise, Fortress, Scrafty, Masquerain, God damn Reshiram, Gliscor, Raikou, Jinx with Z moves, and Mega Diancie. Obviously, the two things that really stick out of his team, of course, there's a freaking Reshiram right there. That thing is an absolute monster. It has very little switch-ins, period, in the PCL. It's just a ridiculously hard-hitting mon, and there's just not a whole lot to do about it. It's going to have Shuka Berry, it's going to roost, it's just going to sit in front of you, it's not going to die, it's going to do a ton of damage to everything on my team, and there's just not a whole lot I can do to stop it. I just have to hope that I can, get a favorable matchup and against it and go from there and potentially predict well around it. That's really all I can do against that thing. Mega Diancie is also a huge set that he's used very well. It's actually his kill leader over Reshiram, which is kind of insane. But Mega Diancie, really fast mon. He has a lot of, hazard pressure on his team, so it's not forced to run hazards really ever. So it's, it can just be a purely offensive monster that Mega Diancie really likes being. It's really fast, really hard hitting. Doesn't have the greatest bulk in the world, but has respectable defenses. Its HP is a little bit meh, but it could definitely live some hits. So definitely a big threat as well. Jinx is honestly something I could see coming. It has a pretty good matchup against my team just in general. It has good coverage. Psychic and Ice just hits a lot of my team relatively well, and has good coverage moves and like Shadow Ball and Focus Blast that also hit my team relatively hard. So I could definitely see something like a Scarf Jinx or some sort of like weird Soul Vest Jinx or something like that coming. I could definitely see that in play. Raikou, Subcommand Raikou could be very annoying this game. It's another thing that could definitely see coming. Really fast, Calm Mind's very annoying to deal with. Gliscor really fat, definitely expect to see this as a Stealth Rocker. It just pivots into my team very well. The only way I can really break it is by, setting up against it or against other things. So yeah, I definitely expect to see Gliscor this game. Masquerain has webs. If he wants to bring webs, I could see that, but I don't really expect to see webs because Masquerain is kind of set up fodder for a couple things on my team, so don't really expect to see that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would want to bring webs against me. Scrafty, he's another mon that he's used incredibly well this season. It's another mon that just has like underrated bulk that just takes a lot of hits and can dish out damage if you let it get set up or if you let it, revenge you properly or whatever. But I do have a Lele, so I don't really expect to see Scrafty, but again, it's another thing it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would bring it. Fortress, good spinner, gets hazards out the ass, so if he wants to spike stack me, he can with that. I don't really expect that again. That's another thing. Dhelmise, could definitely see Dhelmise coming. Just Trashbag Power Whip against my team is pretty strong, so I would not be surprised to see that. Suicune is definitely coming. Suicune is disgusting, it's fat. My team does not like bulky waters, and Suicune is the bulkiest of waters, so definitely expect to see Suicune. Hopefully he's not a dick and brings Krokun. But I do have a couple measures around it. He's Di and I are buddies, so we're in call all the time. So he's made a big deal about never bringing Krokun. So I kind of got like an inkling in the back of my brain that he might want to bring Krokun to this game. And then last but not least, Jirachi hacks a wink on. Need I say more? So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this the team we built. So I want to give shout outs to Dorian and Shay and anyone else who helped me build. I don't really remember who all helped me build off the top of my head. I know Dorian and Shay helped a lot with this team. Obviously, Dai and I usually team build together, so we really couldn't help each other, obviously, for obvious reasons, because we're playing each other in this game. So yeah, this is going to be a really fun matchup, and let's go ahead and get into the squad. First off, we have Dark Sides of Mega Gyarados. This is my primary switch into Reshiram, because we are a very split F Mega Gyarados with even a careful nature. So we're never we have our split F allows us to never be 2-hit KO'd by any move that Reshiram wants to go for. Whether that be, Specs Draco is not 2-hit KOing me ever. So any one special hit from anything on his team, basically, is what we were going for. The speed is for Mega Diancie creeping me in shell at +1. So if we get a Dragon that's up, well, let's feed Mega Diancie. We 2-hit KO any Reshiram set at +1, we 2-hit KO with our Earthquake plus Waterfall, probably just 2 Earthquakes. And yeah, basically it's pure as my pretty much only switch into Reshiram. Yes, Blue Flare can burn, but hopefully we'll avoid that. That's pretty much my only goal, is like my only hope is to avoid a burn and or potentially set up on something else, and you know, he'll eat the first Earthquake with Sugar Berry and then he'll go from there. But hopefully we avoid the burn on that turn. That's basically one of my main only real ways of beating that monster. So next up we have Oswald, our Empoleon, with the Sugar Berry. We have Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, Stealth Rock, and Defog. We have Speed for random creeps. Our Spidef Invest allows us to live 2 Timid Earth Powers from Mega Diancie with Shuka, so we eat 1 Earth Power and then we live the second, and we can OHKO with Flash Cannon. And conversely, our Physical Defense plus our Max HP allows us to live 2 uninvested Earthquakes from Gliscor. So he goes for the first Earthquake, we live, goes for the second Earthquake, we live again, blow that thing back with Ice Beam. We OHKO Mega Diancie Creepy Mienshao with Flash Cannon, so he has a little bit of HP left over, we OHKO that. And then we have a 62% chance to OHKO Max HP Gliscor with Ice Beam, so if he's running a Fizz-Def Gliscor, we have a pretty good chance to OHKO that with Ice Beam. So basically, it's a pretty decent check to 2 of the things like the Spam Ground. Obviously, it's not great against the damn Reshiram, so that's a little bit annoying. But this is also our Stealth Rocker as well as our hazard removal for this game. So next up, I knew I had to bring a little bit of tech to this game. I knew I had to do a little bit of something to hopefully catch him off guard, and that's what Oliver Queen is designed to do in this game. We have leftovers, we have Warrior Seed, Toxic Roost, and Spirit Shackle. Yeah, this is a pretty weird set. So we have speed for uninvested Suicune, and it's designed to 1v1 Gliscor and Crocoon. So that's what this set is designed to do. It's when we just threw the defense in Spidef, or our SLR EVs into Spidef to take Scalds better from Suicune, because it's going to be spamming Scald. The idea here is if he is Crocoon, you know, Rest, Calm Mind, all that, Rest, Sleep, Talk, Calm Mind, Scald. The idea is to Spirit Shackle him, Worry Seed him, and then stall him with Toxic and Roost. That is the plan. With that, it's also good if he doesn't have U-turn on Gliscor. If Gliscor's been sitting in for a few turns, we can also just pop in, Spirit Shackle that, Worry Seed that, and then he'll be taking toxic damage as opposed to toxic healing. So that's another sort of way to just do a lot of damage to Gliscor like that. So Worry Seed to a finals game. It's your boy JB. Next up, we have Skywalker Orlando T. Pretty self-explanatory set. We just have a Choice Scarf Lando with Earthquake, Knockoff, Superpower, and U-turn, Max for speed for Reshiram on the off chance he's Scarf. I don't want to risk him being Scarf. But if he is, I do outspeed that, and I can kill it with an Earthquake. Basically, if he's not Sugar Berry, that'd be a lot better for me. So that would be, honestly, a good thing if he was Scarf Reshi, but I really don't think he will be. I'm pretty sure he's just going to slap a Sugar Berry on it and eat every hit and OHKO my entire team. But we have Superpower, basically is a way to 2-hit KO Max HP Scrafty, and that's really all this set is designed to do. It's designed to click Earthquake because he doesn't really appreciate switching into Earthquake. Again, Delmize is only a maybe, and his only other ground immunity on his team is Masquerain, and I really don't expect to see Masquerain. So Delmize is going to have a lot of pressure on it to switch into Earthquakes. All I have to do is get a couple knockoff plays right, or you turn into something that can actually kill that mon, and we'll be pretty set to deal with that thing. And from there, I mean, Earthquake is relatively spammable against his team. He does have a Suicune, which is basically a resist to everything because it's a damn Suicune, but you know, you have to take what you can get. And then next up, we have Dorian, our Zero Aura. We have Fire EMZ with Fire Punch, Plasma Fist, Hidden Power, Ice, and Volt Switch. We have Speed for Raikou, and this should have walls, Calm Mind Raikou if he's not running Extra Sensory or Shadow Ball. Because if he's running a more offensive, like not Calm Mind variant with Thunderbolt and Volt Switch and HP Ice, I really don't take much at all from HP Ice because, you know, people shit on Zero Aura for being frail. It's not actually that frail. 88 HP, 80 Spidef, 75 defense isn't that bad. It can live a lot of random hits, as I've shown this season. Can just live some things. And then we have Volt Switch on this set, basically, so I'm just not walled by Reshiram. But Z Fire Punch on this team doesn't really have anything that wants to take it outside of course, the Reshiram. Suicune, everything else is hit pretty damn hard by Z Fire Punch, so that was the idea there. And then Plasma Fist is, again, relatively spammable. We have HP Ice to hit stuff like the Gliscor, basically, and Plasma Fist 2-hit KOs offensive Mega Diancie, and we should eat 1 Earth Power, depending on where we're at. We eat 1 Earth Power from full, I know for a fact, but yeah, basically we have Volt Switch or not walled by Reshiram because this thing really doesn't get anything for Reshiram, which is super unfortunate. I mean, it gets Outrage. Probably could have ran the Outrage. I would have kind of been, honestly, pretty clean. Wish I would have thought of that. You do the Outrage. I'm not talking about my ass, right? You get Outrage. Probably should have ran that. That would have been clean. Damn. But let's go ahead and get into the last one. We have Ukulele, our Tapu Lele. Once again, we're just rocking Choice Scarf Lele. We have Psyshock, Moonblast, Shuttle Ball, and Psychic. We have double stab basically as a way to counteract potential Calm Mind Suicune and Calm Mind Jirachi and Calm Mind Raikou. So they want to have Side Shock, and then Psychic hits the rest of his team very hard. Moonblast just blows Scrafty sideways, and then we have Shadow Ball as a way to hit Jirachi. Basically, this last slot was really tough to figure out. We originally had a pretty Heat Magmortar set, pun intended, that was intended to help with Jirachi, but it really didn't do that very well. And it just, again, was something that really couldn't deal with Reshiram and really couldn't deal with stuff like Suicune and whatnot. So I decided to just slap a Choice Scarf Lele on. Basically, Psychic does a lot to Reshiram. It can potentially 2-hit KO depending on his invest and like where he's at, obviously, you know, HP-wise at the point in the game. But all I have to do is get one Jirachi switch in right to click Shadow Ball on it. Like, all I have to do is get that prediction right one time, and Jirachi can be neutralized depending on his set. If he's a more offensive set, then that really helps deal with Jirachi in that sense. So if I get that play right once, it's going to put me in a really good place to continue to just click buttons with Lele and do other things that we need to do to win this game. So yeah, this is going to be a really tough matchup. Reshiram is absolutely disgusting, so it should be a really fun game, and we're going to go ahead and get into that right about now. Alright, so we are back here with the game against Young Jason, aka Diet Tight. Again, link in the description, go check him out. And as you can see, I am unfortunately post-comming this game. You can probably tell by the link of the video, but yeah, we had an unfortunate disconnect like 15 turns in, and Diet and I are lazy and didn't feel like recreating the entire thing, and I just lost all like live comm vibes during it. So I decided to just go ahead, post-comm this, you know, that way I can at least make it a little bit entertaining, because I felt like super deflated after the disconnect, because I'll be honest, I was in a pretty damn good position. But yeah, we disconnected, so we just decided to say screw it, we're just gonna replay the entire game from scratch, and that's what this game is. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the matchup, shall we? Yes, let's do it. So he ended up bringing the Gliscor, the Reshiram, the Mega Diancie, Jirachi, Suicune, and the Jinx. So yeah, like I said, I did sort of expect to see Jinx. It will be interesting to see what sort of set he brings, but yeah, pretty much, you know, exactly what I expected. Suicune plus Gliscor, Rachi, and then his two monsters that are two of the top 5 kill leaders in the entire league. So let's go ahead and get into this. This Beware is a very long replay. It's 50-ish, 50 plus turns. So yeah, go get yourselves a snack. This was a really long game. Like, we actually got it done relatively quickly. Like, we played all like 50, I'll tell you in a second, turns. In about, like, there were like 25 minutes left on the clock, so we played at a relatively fast pace. Yeah, this is a 53 turn game, so I decided to lead off with my Empoleon, as he leads off with his Gliscor. He's going to go for an Earthquake. You can see he's going to pop my Sugar Berry. So yeah, I'm fine with letting that happen turn 1, as if I can give it a Gliscor, potentially also on turn 1, that is much more advantageous for me. So I do go ahead, fire off the Ice Beam. And as you can see, he does have a very significant amount of SPDF to be able to take that as well as he did. But I do have the ability to live another one, so he's going to go for a U-turn, as I believe I just fire off another Ice Beam. Like, I really wanted to be aggressive in getting a kill early, so that would put him on the back foot in terms of, you know, Mon's alive. So he's going to go into this thing, the Jinx, so as I actually make a relatively safe play and actually click Soft Rock. So shout out to me for being smart and clicking rocks on the predicted U-turn, so that was pretty solid. So he is going to go for a Lovely Kiss. I knew he had this because he actually led off with this in the first game, and he went for Lovely Kiss turn 1. So I knew he had this, so I'm like, okay, what's the most, that's the thing that I would like to be asleep the most, and it was, you know, just Empoleon. I'm like, alright, Empoleon seems like the least useful member at this point. I'm going to let it go to sleep. So I'd pivot into my Zeraora here, as he is just going to fire off a Nasty Plot. So we've seen Lovely Kiss, Nasty Plot, and probably Dual Stab. We'll see what his other two moves are, but yeah, this is definitely a threatening mon. He gets some free Nasty Plot, but Zeraora is always faster, since I do know that he is in fact not Choice Scarf, so I do decide to go ahead and go for a Volt Switch, as he makes a completely savage play and saves, and I could have blown this thing sideways with even a Plasma Fist that I had a chance to Oko. But he actually makes a safe play and actually, you know, makes a baller play rather, and just, you know, stays in and clicks Ice Beam. So that's going to do a lot to my Lele, but I can take it relatively comfortably. HP on Lele isn't important as long as rocks aren't up. I can just, you know, come in and click buttons like revenge healing stuff, like, you know, this sort of the Lele playstyle I've been going for all season. So he's going to bring in the Suicune hard on my Lele, as I'm pretty sure I just fire off a stab move, if I'm not mistaken. I know, I actually go for a Shadow Ball trying to catch the Jirachi. So yeah, Shadow Ball is going to come out. You can see it does a decent chunk to Suicune, so we can tell that this probably isn't a max spit F Suicune, but I actually do get a spit F drop, which is actually phenomenal against this thing. Had I had T-Bolt and not been Choice Scarf here, I could have dropped this thing. That would be great, but I decided to switch out. Shadow Ball never kills from here. I am, of course, locked in. I don't want to lose my Lele. So I can bring in Oliver Queen, which is designed to 1v1 Suicunes, as he goes for a Scald. And you can see, so I'm going to do basically anything. I can do that very well. Avoid a Burn, which is also nice. Now let me say, this is designed to take on Crocoon and other forms of Calm Mind Suicunes. However, it is not designed to take on Vincoon, which this man ends up being Sub Protect, Calm Mind Scald variant. So yeah, just standard Vincoon, which is just disgusting and pressure stally and damn it, Duckfy. But yeah, he goes for the Protect on the Toxic, which is another thing that he did know. We had this matchup in our first game that DC'd. So he knew I had Toxic, and he actually just goes for the Protect there. As I decide to go out into my Gyarados, this is one of the things I can very easily set up on. Like, even if he does burn me, if I get to plus like 5 or 6, there's not a whole lot he can do to stop me. Or so I think at this point. He goes for a Scald, and thankfully we avoid the burn on this first turn, which is great. And you're just gonna get that little bit of HP recovery off, as I believe I just decided to go for my Mega Evolution into Dragon Dance. Or no, I actually decided to pivot out probably back into the Decidueye. Nope, I go into Dorian. Forgive me, this has been a couple weeks since we played this game. Of course, you guys know the drill, but he's gonna go for a Scald. And if he burns my Zero Aura, that's really, really bad. But he actually decides to stay in, which I don't really remember what I was predicting. If I definitely didn't predict him to stay in, which he did. So yeah, we thankfully avoid another Scald burn as he goes for a Protect, which is just, wasting a turn. It's super annoying and super diet tight. But it is what it is. Yeah, I didn't even look what I clicked there, but it doesn't matter since he protected. He's back at full because Suicune, and I'm pretty sure I just go for a hard switch. I guess I predicted something. I go back into Gyarados as he goes into. I'm gonna say he goes into Gliscor here, if I remember correctly. Or no, he just goes for another Scald, okay. Got my turns out of order or something, but yeah, he's gonna go for a Scald, and thankfully we once again avoid a burn. No, we don't avoid that burn, but like I said, Suicune, you can see how little it's doing to me. If I can get to plus 6 against this thing, or like even plus 4, plus 5, I can still do a ton of damage to his team with this thing, but I decided to switch out once again as the Suicune is just sitting here, and I'm letting it just sit here and do exactly what Suicune wants, as he goes for a sub. Revealing the sub, and that's when I know, yeah, this tech isn't exactly gonna work, so. I'm gonna have to, find a turn where he's not clicking Sub or Protect to get my Toxic off on this thing. He's gonna go Protect again, which is, man, kind of sucks. But yeah, you can see he's going to protect himself, of course. My Spirit Shackle does not break Sub, depending on his investment, physical defensive investment. That's easy for me to say, but we can go for a Spirit Shackle here. Which does look clean AF, I must say. I'm pretty sure this is the only time I've brought Spirit Shackle this entire season, so. You can see it doesn't end up breaking the sub as he's going to just fire off another Scald. I'm fine with just letting Decidueye in here. Like, my attacks, that does not matter on Decidueye. It really does not. I'm only here to try to land a Toxic on this Suicune at some point. And that's all I'm really trying to do. So basically, this game is really just boiling down to a ton of 50-50s between these two Pokemon, and that's what you'll end up seeing here, is just like a ton of 50-50s. In this matchup, and this is literally what this game comes down to. It's Vincoon versus the Decidueye. It's really the matchup that comes here. He actually goes for a substitute, predicting me to just click the thingy thing again as he he goes for another sub on the next Spirit Shackle. So I'll just bring in Dorian and Volt Switches. I'm pretty sure he's just gonna substitute again, keeping that sub pressure up, keeping sub up. There's no real point in him protecting, as I could just, Volt Switch out and break his sub next turn. So he's just going to go for another sub here and allow himself to protect next turn, basically. And I just go right back into Oliver Queen. I want to land my Toxic on this thing, as he actually goes for a Scald, which I'm pretty sure is a misplay. Because if he would have just set up another sub there, I would have never had a chance to Toxic him. But little do we know, he's just going to click Protect here or sub, because I'm pretty sure he ends up being faster. No, I actually end up being faster, so... or it was a speed tie? I'm not really sure. I was designed to be faster than uninvested Suicune, but I never found out his set. Or I'm pretty sure I did. Current JB as of me recording this video right now, I don't remember it. But I decided to make a really, really bad play in Toxic this Suicune there, because I knew he was faster. Or he knew I was faster. All I could do was protect one turn. Like, I really should have just attacked there, gone for the Spirit Shackle and potentially trapped the Suicune. That really could have been nice, but yeah, he's actually just going to go right into the Gliscor, defog my rocks away, which really sucks. Really, really sucks as my Empoleon is asleep. But I go for a Worry Seed here, revealing the tech. because, you know, Gliscor's pretty low, and at this point I don't know if he has a U-turn or not, so it's still potentially am able to, you know, keep this thing in here. And wear it down with Toxic, just Toxic damage, and yeah, all I have to do is get one hit on it. If he doesn't have U-turn, he's going to be forced to hard switch, and I can just, you know, keep a lot of pressure on this thing. But he does reveal the U-turn, which is nice. I mean, obviously he could have just hard switched out, but keeping that thing as low as it was is always nice. And it doesn't really matter that he knows it for Suicune, because, like I said, it doesn't really, the Suicune tech doesn't really matter as much at this point in the game, because, well, he does protect and stuff. But I go for a Roost here, trying to see what he's going to click against this thing, and you can see I'm pretty sure he goes for Dragon Pulse. Predicting me to, or no, I Roost on his switch, what am I saying? I Roost on the U-turn. But I, of course, do not stay in here. I only have one switch in, that being my Gyarados. Even though I'm not Mega Evolved, which kind of sucks, this is going to do so much damage. Just so much damage. The Dragon Pulse comes out. And look at that. Oh my god, that did half. Plus the burn, it's just, yeah, it's looking real bad news bears for my freaking Reshiram switch in. So he's gonna go right back into the Suicune, which we found out he brought pretty much specifically to help deal with Mega Gyarados, as that he was super scared of it, and it was one of my main, you know, ways of breaking through his team was Mega Gyarados. He knew that, and he brought a super physically defensive Suicune, just an absolutely disgusting Pokemon. But we can break some molds, and I just go for an Earthquake to get off damage, and I really wanted to pop a Sugar Berry, because popping a Sugar Berry with Gyarados on the Reshiram would have meant that anytime Lando T came in and clicked Earthquake, it would have, you know, obviously killed the Reshiram. So I really wanted to pop that Sugar Berry, but of course, you know, he just does switch on to the Suicune, as I'm looking real damn low, so I decided to go fire off a Crunch, hopefully for like a defense drop or whatever, and, you know, just trying to keep this thing from doing what it wants to do. But, you know, you can see that Scald, and that Crunch did absolutely nothing. You can just get a sub right on back up, and boys, we're not even halfway through the turns. We're only on turn 24 out of 53, so yeah, we still got a ways to go. So I'm just gonna go for yet another Crunch, as you can see it will not break his sub ever, because disgusting. But he's gonna go for Scald, and you can see how little this Scald does to me. So if only Scald never burned. If Scald never burned, I'm pretty sure Gyarados 1v1 this. So if he was like, you know, Surf or something for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure Mega Gyarados could have 1v1 this Pokemon. But, you know, unfortunately, Scald burns are a thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for another Crunch, and hopefully 2 Crunches will do enough to break his sub. As you can see, it does, thankfully. But I believe he just goes for another sub, or does he finish me? I don't know. He decides to finish off my Mega Gyarados, which is honestly really bad, because there goes my switch-ins to Reshiram, and at this point, it's looking real grim adventures of Billy and Mandy to steal a line from a boy Shayquaza. But yeah, I can get Zero Aura in here, which puts at least some offensive pressure on this thing. Actually, I go into Elder Queen. Okay. Understandably, I know I'm faster. I really want to get a Toxic off, so do I just click it? I'm pretty sure I do, is he doubles out or switches out into the Daenerys, which I'll take a Toxic on this thing. I need to get it to around like 60% for Earthquake to have a chance through Sugar Berry. So racking up Toxic damage on this thing would be relatively nice as well. It could help me, you know, potentially break through this thing at some point in the game. So that would be really nice if I could, you know, like I said, get this thing to around 60. I believe the Sugar Berry roll to max HP was like 52 to 60. I'm pretty sure something along those lines. It's like max HP Sugar Berry thing. But I decided to go into my Oswald here, as he just fires off a Blue Flare, which you can see does just so much damage. But I rack up a turn of Toxic, which is nice. Yeah, you're just gonna go for a Dragon Pulse to finish off my Empoleon. Really unfortunate that I had to let something go to sleep and it ended up being my Empoleon, because having Rock Ship on this thing would have meant so much in terms of getting it in range of Earthquake. But yeah, I'm starting to lose bonds here, and it's not looking good at all. So Daenerys is sitting at around 60%-ish. So I can bring in Tapu Lele here. Psychic from this range has a chance to kill, depending on his if he has a lot of Spadef Invest or not. So I'm pretty sure I just go right for a Shadow Ball, predicting him to want to switch out into the Jirachi. Like I said, I only had to get this play right once, but he actually ends up psyching up his Gliscor here, which is perfectly fine. He knows my Stealth Rocker is dead, so he has no reason to keep this thing alive, as I actually just go for the Psychic play, wanting to potentially kill the Reshiram. I'm pretty sure Psychic plus Toxic damage would have killed it no matter what. But he can bring in the Jinx here and just go for another Lovely Kiss, so I have to let something else go to sleep, which is really bad, because you know, I would have loved to keep Sleep Fodder, but I needed everything else that I had to awake to, you know, have a chance. It actually goes for an Ice Beam here, being a solid play. Just getting damage off on something, not really wanting to put something to sleep. And for whatever reason, by the way, I'm not really sure why he didn't just go for Lily, because I guess he didn't want to miss and just want to guarantee damage. Potentially finish off my Lele, which, you know, makes sense. But I can just fire off a Plasma Fist, which you can see will finish off the Jinx from the range it was at. So, you know, I'm getting a kill, getting on the board finally. So we're sitting at 4-4 right now with him having significantly more HP than me. So it goes into the Jirachi, which is absolutely perfect. I do have the Fire EMZ, so we're going to go ahead and pop that off. Depending on his invest, this could kill. If he's a super, like, defensive Jirachi, that's the only way it lives. If it's, we see it's not Scarf, first off, so if it's offensive in any way, like, if it doesn't have HP in any way, it's dead. But, yeah, we're just going to fire off the Inferno Overdrive, get this nice, clean animation off, and gonna do some big damage to any Jirachi, but we could potentially just kill it, which would be huge for momentum. And you can see he is a very, very defensive Jirachi, as he's just gonna U-turn out, which will unfortunately finish off Dorian. Thanks for everything you did this season, pal. You put in some fine work. So he's gonna U-turn, but having Jirachi this low is super nice as well. Just being able to potentially, you know, pick something off at any point with Scarf Lando Earthquake, because we know it's not Scarf, and even if it is also Shukaberry, it's definitely in range of a Lando T Earthquake. So Jirachi is, at this point, is pretty much dealt with, which is fine, but he does still have a full HP Suicune, boys. He has a full HP Suicune. So he's gonna double right back onto Daenerys, predicting the Toxic to want to come out. As if I would have gone Lando T here, man, I'm pretty sure that would have been a baller ass play. But I think I just go for a Toxic. Yeah, I really want. Basically, I know my win con is Toxicking the Suicune, because I know he doesn't have rest at this point. So I know that's my win con, and I need to land said Toxic on the Suicune. So I really, you know, go balls out trying to get it. So I basically just have to sack off my Tapu Lele here, as I feel like Lando has the best chance of still winning the game. After this round of Toxic, he is potentially in range of the Earthquake even through Shukaberry, as he actually misses the Blue Flare, which is huge. That means I get another hit off with my Ukulele. I can freely click Psychic here, as Jirachi will die to 2 Psychics, and we know this is not Scarf. So I'm pretty sure I just go for Psychic here. No, I actually go for Psyshock. That was probably a misplay. I'm not really sure why I went for Psyshock there. I guess I was predicting Suicune to want to come in, even though I know it's a Fist F Suicune. But either way, Jirachi is, again, I actually don't think he's in range of this Psyshock, so actually go for it, and we'll find out if it was range or not. It was not range, so he's gonna live on like 1 HP, go for a U-turn, pick off my Tapu Lele. Oh no, actually Lele lived on 3. Alright, good job, Lele. I thought Lele died there, so I am actually gonna be able to get a hit off on the Suicune, which is nice. You can protect, which won't really matter in the long run, because regardless I am Scarf, and I will be able to get a hit off on this thing at some point through sub or protect or yada 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 yada. I'm gonna be able to get a hit off on the Suicune basically. So he's just going to let me get it off here as I go for said Psyshock. And it's going to do some respectable damage, bringing this thing down to around half as he subs, which was a big misplay. This got me right back into the game, boys, because I can actually go for another Psyshock to break his sub at some point, meaning that he will be very low and potentially in range of Lando T Earthquake after, you know, these Protect. So he's going to go for Protect, not letting me break his sub, so I'm going to get another couple rounds of leftovers, but he's still going to be potentially in range of the Earthquake, which is huge for me. And I do still have my Decidueye in the back, and all I have to do is make a right double. It's like I said, it's going to come down to some ridiculous 50-50s here in these last few turns. So, although we are looking pretty far behind at this point, he's going to go for Psyshock. I'm going to go for Psyshock, which will break the sub, as I'm pretty sure he Scald. Crit mattered, by the way. It absolutely didn't. You guys saw how much the Psyshock did. So he's going to go for Scald, which will, of course, finish off my Lele from 3 HP. So, he's going to get another round of leftovers, which puts him, after the round of leftovers, it does put him out of range of the Lando T Earthquake. Unfortunately, so I couldn't just go into that and start, honestly, just winning with Earthquake. I'm pretty sure if this thing had been in range of Earthquake, I think I just won at this point, just by spamming Earthquake. So, go back into Oliver, because I really need to land this Earthquake, and I'm pretty sure this is a turn where I finally make the double into Lando, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't. God, where's my doubles game? Past JB sucks. Present JB is pretty mad at me for not going Lando T there. That was an obvious switch. I am going to go hard Lando on the Jirachi, which I'm pretty sure is a really bad play now that I think about it. Yeah, if I would have pulled that double, I got too tunnel visioned on killing that damn, or toxicking that damn Suicune. Like, I got way too tunnel visioned on that, which I will freely admit is exactly what happened. But as long as, you know, I still have Oliver Queen alive, I still have a chance. He, you know, throws out the Witch with the Jirachi, which is fine. It turns out he doesn't have Protect, and I can just pick this thing off with an Earthquake, which is great. That could have potentially revealed I was Scarf. I'm not really sure what sort of investments speed-wise he was running on that Jirachi. I don't think a lot, considering how well he took that side shock earlier. Both of those side shocks, I'm pretty sure that's a lot of his stuff. But he brings in the Suicune here. So I decided to fire off an Earthquake. Potentially, I could 2-hit KO it, avoiding a Scald. So I really just wanted to, you know, start trying to spam through his team with Earthquake, because I 2-hit KO from this range with Scald. He can't really sub, especially if he lets me get, if he goes for Earthquake, or if he goes for sub on my Earthquake, I, you know, just 2-hit KO him. But you can see he ends up going for Protect, and Earthquake will do, you know, bring him out of sub range, which is huge. As he goes for a Scald, if I don't get burned, I can, you know, still spam my Earthquakes and do what I need to do. We avoid the burns, so we are in a very good spot to just keep spamming Earthquake and end up winning this game, is what we're going to try to do. Of course, he's going to go for the Protect, getting himself a little bit more HP, which will, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure, put him just out of range of Earthquake's max roll. I'm pretty sure he's just out of range. So I think I have to... Oh, no, he actually switches here. He's definitely in range. What am I thinking? Yeah, he sacks the NC here. So he makes a really good play there, not letting me kill this Suicune. He knows that's his win con. So he just sacks the NC, which finally hits the field. Didn't even get the Mega. So yeah, that thing's going to just clean drop. Not really having to worry about that thing was huge, though. So I'm glad I was able to just get rid of it when I did. And it wasn't really much of a threat at all this game. So, we're down to Suicune and Reshiram versus Lando T and Decidueye. What I need to do to win this game is get my Toxic off on this thing and basically just waste a turn of Toxic on the Reshiram. If I waste a turn of Toxic on the Reshiram, I just have to land the... I just have to, you know, get the roll through Sugar Berry with Earthquake. So, he's gonna... Basically, this is where the 50-50s really start to come into play. I have to predict what turn he's gonna go Reshiram on my Toxic. And he has to predict what turn I'm gonna go Lando on his Reshiram. So we're in a bit of a standoff on who's gonna pull the double first. If he Scalds and I go to Lando, I lose. If I get the Toxic off, I could potentially win. I do finally get the Toxic off on the Suicune, right? Which is huge. Well, we've been trying to do this entire game. Which is great. He's gonna fire off a Scald. And you can see the burn is literally irrelevant at this point, even if he does get it. Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. So I still have to predict what turn he's gonna go Reshiram. If he clicks Scald on my Lando T play, I lose. If, you know, he just keeps staying in and lets me kill this thing, or lets me get it in range of Earthquake on a turn he clicks Protect, I can just spam Earthquake and win. So, and as long as I have a turn to live a hit, regardless, I can still win with, you know, just Toxic damage racking up on Reshiram, basically. As he does pull the switch finally into the Reshiram on my Decidueye, as I'm pretty sure I make a misplay. Or no, I go for Spirit Shackle. Spirit Shackle is actually the correct play here. So I go for Spirit Shackle. It was no drawback. It, you know, got damage on Suicune and kept Toxic racking up. I go for the Spirit Shackle there, which after that damage and poison, he is 100% in range of the Earthquake. I just have to predict whether or not he's gonna roost or not. And if he roosts, he you know, is still has to not get crit, basically. He could have roosted there and potentially just won the game that way, but he's just gonna Blue Flare, you know, not letting me get my Lando win for free, which is a good play. If I got Lando there on his roost, he would have been in a really bad spot. But I can get Lando T in here, and it's gonna come down to whether or not I can kill the Suicune, basically. All this is gonna come down to a roll on Suicune. So I'm gonna go for Earthquake. His Sugar Berry is gonna pop. It does not matter. He's well within range. He's in red. So yeah, the down goes Daenerys. Down goes the Mother of Dragons. But yeah, here it comes, boys. The Season 2 PCL finals are gonna come down to a roll on this Suicune. Protect will not keep him out of range after Toxic damage, so it just comes down to my Earthquake. He has to click Scald. I have to click Earthquake. Here's what happens. He lived. He lived. He goes for the Scald. And unfortunately, we are going to take this L. But this was an amazing game. Like, it was pretty at the start. But once I got done these last few turns and us having to predict who was going to make the 50-50 play first, that was just a really fun, really intense match. And yeah, that Suicune actually ended up on 16 HP at the end of the game. So had I gotten just a little higher roll, he was in range of the Earthquake. I could have, you know, potentially killed with that and just won that way. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I needed a crit. I don't really remember. Either way, I was that close to getting my redemption, but unfortunately for a second season in a row, I'm going to take an L in PCL finals. But hey, it is what it is. This was an incredible game. Definitely go check out JBWestside. It should be a great video, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 3. Should be a great time. I'm pretty sure we're waiting till Gen 8, but fret not, all you Draft League fans on my channel. Those are the only videos that get views. Here, I do have a few more Draft Leagues coming up, so yeah, this will not be the end of Draft League content on my channel for Gen 7, so get excited for that. But once again, congratulations to Die. Go check him out. He's a good friend. No salt here, and yeah, go check him out. It was a great game, and I don't really have much else to say other than that. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.